Okay, let's do it.
I'm ready when you are.
All right. What's up? Welcome back, everyone. Sam Brax here, and today I'm with Matt Loberstein. I feel like most of the people who watch me, they know you already, but for the few that don't, just introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm Matt Loberstein. I am a seven-figure Amazon seller, creating my own brands, my own products. I've been at that for 3 years or so. Before that, I got my beginnings reselling and flipping on eBay. Was doing that on the side as I was going through school for years and years. Led me to want something more scalable, which brought me into the Amazon world, sourcing products directly. And now, like how Sammer said about you may know me, now I talk about it on YouTube. So now I've got that going on as well, where I'm sharing everything I've done to get to this point and what I'm doing in my business as I progress as well.
And how old are you?
I'm 25.
25, living in California.
Yeah, Hermosa Beach, little beach town in the LA area.
Where is it? What is it close to? I've been to LA a few times.
So it's really just south of LAX. If you flew into LAX,
Okay.
it's like that's like a few miles north of here. So
Okay. I did a summer at UC Irvine.
okay,
Should
yeah.
be.
So that's like an hour drive, like south-ish of here. Well,
Okay.
not exactly south because California is like shaped like that, but it's like
Down.
southeast. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met Matt, I don't know, I think it was through YouTube or through Facebook. We just started talking. And I'm just going to be honest, I really love what you're doing with YouTube and the way you've approached Amazon and the way you're teaching it or the way you're, like your message.
Hmm.
So since I met you, I stopped listening to anyone else. I'm just listening to Matt because Matt, the way he explains it is he's not just selling a product now, he's starting a business, right?
Yeah.
And not many people talk about it this way. So I don't want to listen to the guy who sold fidget spinners and made a lot of money from that. I want to listen to the guy who's starting a business and creating a business. So hopefully you
Yeah.
guys can see that in Matt.
That is absolutely my mentality. And look, when I was starting out in business too, like this wasn't the way I thought of it in the beginning either. Like I was looking for quick things, and I understand that raw hustle, but I got to a point where I wanted something that would grow and last and scale and something I could build on and just build a real business over years rather than just trying to find that one quick little trick, that one little hack, that one fidget spinner, so I mean, if people make money in that, like I'm pumped for them. Like I don't mean to like totally like knock that down. If you made $100,000 on fidget spinners, like I love that. But I would take that money and invest it into something that you can build over time. Because yeah, that's my philosophy on it.
How did you get started with Amazon? What was the early days like?
So the early days, so like I said, I was already doing eBay things. So it was really like a gradual transition. It wasn't like I just stopped and then I started like boom, private label. It was kind of like I was first I was reselling used stuff on eBay, and then I started like importing bulk stuff from AliExpress and selling it on eBay. Like I was doing like phone accessories and short-term stuff.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I was doing. But I kind of knew the next step beyond that was this private label thing before private label was even like a term. It was just kind of obvious to me that like intuitively, like you can create your own brand of something. So I started sort of doing that on eBay, even like 4 years ago or so. I was selling tempered glass screen protectors. I'm not selling anything related to those things now, but I was like one of the first people selling those back then. And I sold them on eBay. I started generic, and then I made like a label. And that was the same time I was sort of hearing about Amazon. I knew intuitively if you could just get to the top of Amazon, like boom, you're done. But I was busy. I was in school. I hesitated. It's funny because everyone now thinks I've been in it for so long, but at the time I was late. So yeah, I took that first one and I kind of did it as a test. I was like, well, I know this probably isn't a good product for Amazon, but I learned how to deal with the barcodes, how to deal with shipping. So I sent that product into Amazon, sold it for a few months. It did okay. Then I was like, okay, now I know how to do the Amazon thing. And then I did my first official product. I just back then I don't think there was a single course. I don't think there were no YouTube channels about this stuff. There were no podcasts. Like even like The Amazing Seller, which is a good free resource. I remember when he started that. I found it on like the second episode. I was already selling. So back then it was just a lot different. there weren't these communities. Like the amount of resources out there right now is seriously mind blowing. I mean, Facebook groups, YouTube, podcasts, even if you do pay for a course, like it's just like having this, there's just such an immense amount of knowledge out there. So yeah, I didn't have that. So it was just a lot of figuring it out. Luckily I had a few friends that were also sort of doing eBay, and we were talking about this stuff. So we were kind of all figuring it out, bouncing ideas off each other, helping us out. Like, hey, how do you do this? And be like, hey, oh, I know how to do that. So it was scrappy, but that's kind of how it started for me. And then it's been 3 years of growing that out, expanding within a brand and launching a few new brands. So now I have 4 brands with multiple products under each one. So
How many brands did you say you have?
right now I have 4. If you want to get into that though, so like I talk so much about this like cohesive brand thing. I still do have I have like different tiers of brands. Like I have my top 2 brands that are like really a brand. And then I have like my 3rd brand that's like a product line, but I don't give it that much attention in terms of brand. And then my 4th one is basically random products. Like, so there's still opportunity in that, but the more you can layer that mentality of building out a product line, in my opinion, just like you said, people aren't talking about that. And that's real, in my opinion.
And when you say brand, do you mean you get a product and you private label it and then you keep a consistent theme, or do you mean you customize the product itself?
So both. The thing I would say is that it is expensive to do intense customization at first. So my philosophy has always been to create a product company. And so I start with maybe my first couple launches are more private label-y, like, relatively simple. If you can do some modifications, that's cool. But what I've done personally is I've taken those first products to reinvest into more and more true modifications. So I've taken something that is a little more private label-y, taken the profits from that to like redevelop a new version of that product or something to actually make physical changes and improvements. And then that's the ultimate differentiator as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I plan on doing. My first product I didn't brand at all. I just private labeled. And I don't plan on branding that product, but for the next product that I want to create a brand around, just start very simple. I mean, do something very simple to it, and then maybe modify as I get more money from that product. And that works, right?
At the very least, you want to have your logo on it. You can get creative with packaging. Like, it doesn't have to be an immense thing at the beginning. It's actually, this is something I've been realizing to explain recently, is like the more you change, it's more upside, but it's also more risk because it's less proven. So it's kind of this balance of like what's proven versus what is unproven, but has a lot of upside, but also might not work. So yeah, I mean, you do what changes you can in the beginning, and then grow from there. But yeah, definitely I like the mentality of expanding horizontally from a product. Like even that first product you said, like if it's doing well, I would literally, like, even if it's not like a brand, like a lifestyle brand or something, I would still think in terms of product line. It's like, is there another style of this product? Is there another product that the same market needs for the same thing? Like, it could be boring. Like, it could be like chairs for legs or legs for chairs. But like maybe there's different styles and there's different colors and there's different sizes. I don't know. Like, it could still be a product line, even if it's not like a super sexy like Nike brand or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or compete with yourself. You say that a lot. Can you explain that?
Compete with yourself.
Like,
I like that one.
Yeah. Can you just explain it quickly? What you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, so my concept of compete with yourself is really that it's the best way to expand your product line, in my opinion. So say your first product was a chair. I'll use the chair example. We're going with chair. And say it was a wooden brown modern chair or whatever, and you found that your product was losing sales to competition because there was this slightly different shape blue chair. And so rather than going from chair to something else, the best thing you can do is expand to your direct competition, in my opinion. So I've done that a lot of times. It's like, you might feel like, oh, well, that blue chair is just going to cannibalize the sales from the brown chair. But in reality, it's just going to get you more Amazon real estate. So I've done that on multiple occasions where I'm like, rather than just own one style, it's like, well, what are the other styles of this product? And that's your next product. Like so say it was a a French press for coffee, and you start with one style and it's really good. But then you realize that a lot of people are still buying a different or sizes. Dude, that would be huge for something like that. There's different size French presses. Do them all. Do ones that have a wooden handle. Do ones that have a rubber handle or a stainless handle. Like you got like that's how to start a product line even before you're thinking brand, because that's
That's nice. So when you started, you were in university still, right? And you didn't have a job, or you weren't working full time, and you never did after that. You just went from university to just full time Amazon, right?
Right. So I was doing like the eBay, the reselling, hustling before Amazon. I started Amazon and I was still doing that. So there was crossover. So that was what was allowing me to not have a job at that time. So I was like starting up on Amazon. I was flipping well, at that time, I originally was doing a lot of flipping iPhones. Then I got into flipping vintage watches because I'm really into vintage watches. So I was flipping watches as I was starting on Amazon. So yeah, and I never, the last job I had was about 5-6 years ago. Yeah, before I moved down to LA. I was in Northern California at community college, and then I transferred down here to UCLA, and I was still doing the flipping thing, and I haven't had a job since.
And what is it like full time Amazon? Because now I'm selling, and after you start selling, you don't do much. I have a full time job other than Amazon, and if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be doing anything with my day. So what was that, or what is that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, just like lifestyle wise,
Yeah.
it's nice. I mean, I think we all get into this for some sort of lifestyle goal, at least for me. Like, I could go down that rabbit hole for a long time, but I just don't think I could function in any other way. Like today, like literally the beach is right there. I mean, I'm not saying it like to be like braggy, but I just mean like I really like that lifestyle design stuff. Like I went out to the beach this morning, and it was like I was just like sitting out there for like 30 minutes at like 11 a.m. And it's like, it's just cool to be able to do stuff like that. Or like even things like visiting family. Like I hate when friends can't go do something because they have a job. And I'm like, that sucks. Like I want to just be able to do what I want to do. So that's definitely was the driving force for me. And yeah, I just don't think I could function in like a get up early and drive to the office. Like it's just I'm like very, very, at this point, I'm like very detached from like the normal world of like how things operate.
But it's working.
Yeah, it's working and it's great. I mean, if I ever go back, something went really wrong.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
So how's business now, like today, especially now that it's Q4? If you guys don't know what that means, Q4, it's the fourth quarter of the year, and it's when sales just go 3x or 4x. How's it going now?
It's going, I'm looking at it as of right now. It's going pretty good. So I really find, and this has taken me a couple of years to realize, that Q4 means quarter four, which means October, November, December. But like, truthfully, it's Black Friday to December 22nd. Like, that's what we're really talking about. So I'm just starting to see like the first increase. And in my business, and I think this is just related to the general buying behavior of the country and my specific products, but I take a huge dip in September, October, November. So right now I'm really just seeing it like start to get back to what it was sort of like end of summer where my products are really hot. So I'm not seeing anything crazy. Yesterday I had 2 lightning deals, so that was pretty sick because lightning deals compound with Q4. So I did over 10,000 in sales yesterday, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that every day. Like right now, as we're recording this, it's 4:24 p.m. I'm at just over $2,000 for the day.
Do you mind if you see? Yes.
Wait, let me see if there's nothing on my screen, right? Okay, yeah. Is that in focus? So
Yeah.
you should be able to see my yesterday is 10,500, and today I'm at 2,000 so far.
It's beautiful. What about the whole year? Can we see that?
Yeah, I'll do year to date.
Exciting numbers.
So year to date, we are at 1,340,000. Wait, nothing's. Sorry, I just need to make sure I'm not sharing something I shouldn't be sharing.
I'll cut it out if anything. Wow.
That showing up?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and you can see my last year was 1.22. So I'm over that, and I still have that peak season to go. So
what do you expect to end up with this year?
It's so hard to estimate because it's just like so much is at stake. But last year, I can tell you that I did almost half of my year's sales in November and December, if that makes sense. So I think I was at like, I think I was at like 650 or 700,000. And then plus November, December took me to 1.22. So it was like another like 500,000 basically. So, I mean, if things go really well, hitting 2 would be sweet, 2 million, but I don't want to like say that 100% because there's just so much up in the air that I just don't know. Like maybe this Q4 is a little slower than I expected and I end up at 1.6 or 7. It could happen. Or maybe it's just insane and I end up at like 2.5. That'd be sick. So because there's so much still up for grabs, it's really hard for me to like pinpoint where I'm going to be at. But I'll tell you this is that I have a lot of inventory. So it should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Like, how do you prepare for such a thing? My first product, I ran out of inventory the first 2 weeks, and cash flow problems. It's a crazy thing.
I mean, honestly, not to discourage people, but that's the never ending game. It's the never ending game. I know people that are bigger sellers than me by far, and they're still playing that game. So, but you have to become okay with taking on low interest loans to fund inventory because ultimately like these businesses, as if you're scaling, you want to be putting the money back into the business into growing it. So it's not something that is positive cash flow so quickly. And that's the way that I see it. That's why I talk about building a long-term brand, building something that can scale. Yeah, I take a salary out of it now, but for the most part, I just want to grow it, which takes more cash. Like I'm doing those numbers, but I have a huge loan from Amazon Lending, and I'm using that for inventory. They have their line to me is like over $300,000. So
But you're
so I
still
mean,
able to pay
you
yourself.
gotta get into stuff like that to be able to fund inventory because honestly, yeah, it's just like it really just snowballs unless you're just like, look, I'm making $3,000 a month or $5,000 a month and I just want to stay there, then yeah, you could just kind of maintain it. But to me, I always want to be trying to add new products and to expand. And that honestly, it just ties up more and more cash, even though it's profitable. And obviously you want to be profitable on paper, but it takes a long time for the cash flow to sort of flip over to that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. No, I know exactly what that means because I'm going through that right now.
Yeah. In the beginning, my like first year, yeah, I was right there with it. I was in and out of stock for the first year. Then I would finally just be able to, as you get more cash from those sales, then you'll place a little bit bigger order until now you can hold yourself over for 2 months instead of 1 month. And then that's how it starts to sort of smooth out. So it gets better.
Yeah, hopefully I'll figure it out soon.
Yeah.
How's product research for you? How can you leverage what you have already, especially since you have created brands? How can you leverage that to launch new products and find new products?
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me is like once you have an established product or a few products, product research becomes very easy because I am rarely looking for something completely brand new. I'm looking at what is frequently bought together. What is frequently bought with my product already? What are my customers asking for? They're like, hey, where's the bigger one? Or where's the green one? Or like, do you have one that has this feature? And I'm like, that's my next product. So or you sell an accessory to your product or you copy yourself like we were talking about. So it really becomes a lot easier. So it depends if we're talking about somebody brand new starting out or somebody that already has some leverage because yeah, having the leverage to me is the ultimate thing. That's why in the past, like I haven't launched a completely new brand in a while at this point. I probably will again, but my past year has been all of like horizontal expanding within the brands because that's just the biggest leverage point in my opinion because you can run cross promotions right on Amazon to you could do buy one get one free to start out, get the frequently bought together showing up, so then you're synergizing, so then people will naturally find your new product more because your other one, especially if it's that like compete with yourself thing, because now you'll just immediately have leverage basically. Obviously just running a lot of PPC, AMS if you're on that, just getting more just disbursement of that brand is huge.
I can imagine
But
at that point you don't have to do any crazy launching strategies. You just use what you have already to sell to your already existing customers, right?
exactly. Yeah, I could. So yes, and it allows me to also be a little more patient with the launch, because I remember what it was like with my first product. It was like every single second I needed to do something to get it going. But now it's like, look, if a new product takes a couple months to get traction, I don't care. I have like 40, like, So I'm not. It buys me the luxury of being a little more patient and not so like urgent. Which, yeah, it allows me to just kind of like get it going and just launch it a little slower and just let it get traction and just do it again and again and again. That's the ultimate scale trick. Is, look, if you did it once, do it 10 more times and your business will be 10 times bigger. I mean, it really is that simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you can get a product that's making $1 to $3 grand a month and build up a portfolio of 10 of those, you'll be doing pretty well.
Right, right. So you don't use something like viral launch or jump send. Is it gets easier to launch a product, right?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I did a video about this. I personally don't. I don't like trash on them. I think that you'll be okay. Like, my issue with it is that those services existed before the Amazon terms of service change that happened last October, which was before then you could give away, and just for everyone that doesn't know, before then you were allowed to give away and incentivize. You were allowed to incentivize a review, meaning like, I'll give you this product for free, you leave a review. That was allowed. And Viral Launch and Jump Send did that. My issue with it is now they just don't ask. So it's still the same pool of buyers, or a lot of them are the same. Those accounts, in my eyes, are like flagged already. Like, Amazon knows who those people are. And so I just wouldn't touch it personally. Do I think that you'll get banned if you do it? Probably not. I mean, I think it's pretty safe, but it's not something that I'm going to recommend because I don't use it, and I just personally don't really. It's not that I don't believe in it. I was going to say it's because I think it works. I mean, yeah, you'll get some sales, but I just can't like get behind it at this point because of the rule change, and especially because I'm already built up and I don't want to risk what I have. So
Yeah, I haven't
yeah.
done it either. Even with my first launch, I did not do any of that, and it still worked for me. So it's
So
not
what'd
a
you do for
must.
that first launch?
I gave away to the friends of friends, people that I'm not directly connected to. I did
Mhm.
that consistently for a while, and PPC, and I made sure that my listing was perfect.
Yes, exactly. So I talk so much about that, is like, it's just this concept of having something people want to buy. Like,
Mhm.
bring a good offering to the world and people will buy it, and then do PPC, get it in front of them. Maybe it'll be at a loss at first. I'm guessing you might have not been profitable on your PPC day one, but it allows you to push through the system.
Right.
So it's worth it. And yeah, I totally agree. I mean, so much of my launch strategy is, it's what you just said.
Mhm.
It's get up a good listing, turn on PPC, get it rolling, get it a little traction, a couple of reviews here and there, builds up over time. So much of it is that. I mean, there is like higher level stuff that I'm like beginning to layer on top that I'm about to be testing, stuff that I've typically done for re-engaging old customers, which is another thing that ties into what you were saying a minute ago about like how you can leverage your existing. Is you can, export your customer data, retarget them with Facebook ads, for example.
Mhm.
And so with something like that, you could offer them a new product. You'd be like, hey, you bought this one, we have a new one, or we have this product that goes with that one, here's a discount. I'm not against discounts, just to tie in with the jump send and viral launch thing. I'm just against it being that pool of buyers. But if you want to find your own people through random targeted ads that are not Amazon buyer reviewer group people, then it's different. It's totally different in my eyes, 100%. So yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something, but oh yeah. So you said that you can retarget your customers, but how do you do that exactly? I don't understand how to do that because Amazon doesn't let you capture any information from your customers, right?
Right. So what I'm doing, and this is like a semi-gray, pretty white hat area. I do everything as clean as possible, but this one is like semi-arguably. I mean, in my eyes, it's pretty clean. But what you're doing is exporting your customer data. I use Managed by Stats. There's a couple of them, but it basically allows you to export your, like, in a CSV, like Excel type file, the names, the zip codes, the addresses, and you can upload that into a custom Facebook audience. and it won't be 100% match because you don't have their email.
Yeah.
So any of those services, they actually offer a service that I don't recommend, which is called like email append, which is their way of like basically trying to uncover the customer's email based on their name and location. I wouldn't touch that. That's like spam territory. But what I would say is okay is to take the data, put it into a custom Facebook audience, and it'll get a pretty good match. Like if you upload 10,000 orders, you might build a custom Facebook audience of 5,000 or 6,000. It's not 100%, but you'll still build a nice little audience. And then, so that in that audience is your previous customers, which you can target with Facebook ads. Not only that, you can build a lookalike audience. You can take this 5 or 10,000 person audience and be like, hey, Facebook, find me people that are like these people. And then they'll be like, hey, these million people are pretty close to these 5,000 people in terms of like everything, in terms of demographics, age, location, income. Like, I mean, it's a smart thing. So you can play with that.
And do you have Facebook or Instagram pages for your brands?
I do for a couple of them, not for all of them. Cause like I said earlier, is like, I'm more serious about the brand thing with a couple of them.
Okay.
The others are just at this point, like product lines. But I do. I mean, they're nothing gigantic, but it's mostly just for re-engaging past customers, being able to be like, hey, here's a new product. And it's more of a long-term play. Even at my level, it's stuff that I am implementing, but it's stuff that I need to do more of. But I'm just sort of trying to have that foundation there so that over time I'm getting more customer data. I can bring some people back into the mix. It's an asset that grows over time. Even just having Amazon customers, like this is something nobody really talks about, but even if you're not doing that stuff, I think it's like having a Amazon listing that has sold a lot and grows over time, like that is more of an asset than I think people realize, because you get more reviews over time, you get more rank history over time, you get more past customer data that you can retarget over time. So like in theory, like think about this, is getting a little crazy, but in theory, if you were selling thousands of items for break even, you would still be gathering like very useful data that you could then retarget. Would be like, well, I know this person bought this item, they're in my mix, they trust my brand. Like a lot of companies in non-Amazon industries do stuff like that. Like it's like a loss leader type thing that they just want you in their sort of database. Like, so, I mean, so that my point with that is just that I think there's more value in it than people are tapping into. So just having that backlog of orders and more reviews and more rank is like a valuable asset. Whether or not you're doing all those things to implement it right now, having that mindset is gonna help.
And I don't know if I've heard you talk about this or someone else, but you advise or someone else said that to start a Shopify store for your brands,
Yeah.
separate from
So
your Amazon.
I have two of them, but it's like it's kind of like what I just said is like I have them, but I'm not driving at this point. I'm still trying, even if I'm doing external traffic, I'm trying to drive it to Amazon, because driving sales to Amazon allows that algorithm thing. So I get a couple sales occasionally on Shopify, but it's like people are just finding it somehow. Like I'm not really pushing it at this point. But I do have two Shopify stores. I do have ClickFunnels, but that's stuff I'm layering on top. Or even with something like ClickFunnels, you can still point them to Amazon. Or if I'm running Instagram ads, I can still point them to Amazon.
Okay.
So yeah, Shopify, I have it up there for kind of credibility for long term, but it's not something I've been majorly focused on.
Okay, I see. Where do you see this going, this Amazon business that you're running right now?
I think my personal goal would be to sell this business in a few years.
Okay.
I just don't want to sell it now because I know there's so much more I could do with this business. Like, I mean, I'm sure like, and the other thing is like, if I want to sell it, I want it to be like a seriously life-changing amount of money. And not that like $1 million isn't life-changing. I mean, it would be amazing, but like after taxes and after then I don't have a business anymore. It's like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sell it, like I want it to be like, 5 to 10 or more. And I know that like it has that potential. Mm-hmm. So there's just so much more I could be doing with it outside Amazon. I could be taking my brands to retail. I'm not even selling international right now. I could be doing, corporate sales. I could be doing it's endless. And that ties in with being a product brand and not just selling a thing on Amazon. if you're a product brand, there's endless potential. I mean, like any market is like at the peak of it is like a 9-figure market. Like the chair example, like, yeah, maybe selling a chair on Amazon doesn't make sense, but I guarantee you there are 9-figure brands that sell chairs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, so you got to have that sort of long-term vision for it. And that's why I don't want to sell now, because I just know that there's literally so much more I could do with it to grow and then be at a bigger multiple later. We'll see if that actually, I mean, maybe I'll never actually sell it, but at least I'll be building a better business in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my goal. As far as like for everybody, I think that there's still a lot of opportunity on Amazon. I just think that like the slap it up super quick thing is harder. But what's interesting is I don't think it's harder now than it was like a year ago. So it's definitely just like been flat, or maybe even slightly easier, because Amazon was the hot thing right before the review change. Like now it's died down a little bit. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, but the more you can sort of layer on those like extra things, it's just gonna supercharge it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like when you started, maybe it was easier than now, and then it got a bit harder. But then after the review thing, people backed out, and they're like, "Oh, this is getting harder and harder." But now we have more
Right.
opportunity for us to start.
And the more hard things you do, the less people
Would
will
want
do
that.
those hard things. So yeah, the review change knocked out a lot of the easy people. Now that we're trying to do things with, funnels and Facebook ads, I mean, that's just like, dude, like a very small percentage of sellers is ever going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth of it. So the more you can just sort of get a piece of that, and yeah, I mean, honestly, like we said about PPC, there's still plenty of room to have a good product, turn on PPC, let it go. Like, I mean, that's still the bulk of my strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the more I can sort of layer more on top, it's just going to be even better.
Okay, I see. I guess that's all. Like I had questions in mind, but we're just having a conversation. And
Yeah.
let's talk about your YouTube. I really love your YouTube channel. I watch
Thank
a
you.
lot of your videos, and I want everyone watching this to go watch your videos. So tell us about your YouTube and what you're doing with that, and how you started it, because it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, it really hasn't been that long. The response has been really amazing. I'm at about 4,500 subscribers in like not even 3 months, or close to 3 months, I think. So really great start. I'm sure a lot of people watching this, and probably you, like watch Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talks a lot about this. And so I had this idea. He was in my ear about this for like so long, and I put it off for a long time. I hesitated. It doesn't come natural to me. Like that's what's been amazing, is like the compliments is everyone's just saying that they really, really love my channel. I'm like, dang, like I was like so like nervous and hesitant. And my first video, I said the word like about 5,000 times. It was just like, I still say it, I just said it, but I've gotten better, and you get comfortable with it. And the response has been way more than I could have imagined. So, but yeah, I mean, my real like plan for it was really just the Gary Vee thing. I thought that, this is going to be a valuable platform in 5 to 10 years. Like it was a long-term move. Like, yeah, it's led to stuff happening way sooner than I expected. I mean, literally almost immediately people were like, "Can I pay you for a consultation call?" And I'm like, I guess. Like, I mean, so it's led to, and like, what else is going on, but it's led to things that I didn't expect. Or maybe I expected it in like 2 years.
Yeah.
But the real intent was to build like a positive platform, like to put myself out there and to build personal brand, because at some point in my life that would be valuable, and it already is. But what I mean is like, maybe I'll launch a business in 5 to 10 years, such that having like a big following of people that are interested in business and interested in myself will just allow me to like blow it up. Like I listen to a lot of Tim Ferriss, and like are you familiar with like the Tim Ferriss effect? Like
I'm reading his book right now. I just started it.
Okay, so when Tim Ferriss mentions something now, it's like out of stock for like 3 years. It's just absurd. It's kind of like Oprah or something. He's like the Oprah of podcasts or whatever. And like, so just have, or Gary Vee. If Gary Vee starts a new business, boom, it's a thing.
His shoes.
Yeah, his shoes. Exactly. So see, I just want to be like a 1% of that, because I want to be able to be like, in 5 years, it's like, hey, I'm starting this business, and have just it's leverage. And I don't mean it's not leverage in like a manipulative way. It's leverage in the way of having a lot of friends. It's like you just have a lot of people that are knowing what you're doing, and they're rooting for you, and they want to support you, and they're interested. And therefore, if you launch if I open a coffee brand in 5 years and I want to talk about it, I might have a bunch. I mean, that's not what I'm going to do, but it's just an example. But then I might have a lot of people that are like, hey, like, I'm going to buy that coffee or whatever. So that was really my thought, was just to sort of build that platform and get myself more out there. And another Tim Ferriss thing is that Tim Ferriss always talks about, like, even if you're doing something, to mitigate the downside by having a benefit. And my idea for this applying to video was that even if my YouTube channel goes nowhere, I'm learning valuable video skill that I can potentially apply to my brands and to ads and to other stuff, or just to public speaking, or just to just getting more connections. Like, I've met a bunch of people from this. So like the downside was very mitigated, and like the upside was everything. So that was definitely in my mind as well.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you said at the end. Like, I suck at public speaking, and I'm getting better at it just by speaking to the camera with my YouTube videos. I've met so many people from my YouTube, and awesome people, and yourself. And
Yeah, it's really amazing.
it is.
I've met more people in the past couple of months than like my entire life.
I know, it's crazy. I've never DM'd so many people in my life.
Yeah, same. I mean, at this point, it's hard. I can barely keep up. I mean, I have people that have probably been waiting for like 2 weeks right now. Sorry if you're waiting. But I'm still trying to get to everyone. But yeah, it's tremendous. I've had people recognize me in person. It's crazy.
No way.
Yeah.
And I have
crazy.
barely 300 something followers, subscribers, which I'm very happy, and I'm thankful to each and every one of them. But I've already seen a difference in my life because of it, and I'm sure you've seen much more.
I know, like, now I'm a little further along, but I was there like so recently, and even at that point, it was already really interesting. Like, it happens quicker than people think. Like, you don't need to be Gary Vee. You don't need to have 1 million. Like, if you just have a couple hundred of people that are actually following you, like, you are already having like a really big impact. And like, people were saying they were helping me, like, that I was being a huge help to them when I had like 50 subscribers. And I was like, whoa, like, there's people out there that are like already getting value out of this. Like, yeah. I thought it would take a year to have like 500 subscribers.
And especially since it's like, we have much less subscribers, we can get in contact with them much easier. It's much easier to get in contact with them. So we're impacting their lives because we're talking to them personally. So
yeah, exactly. And like, we can still respond to them, and it's just more personal. Yeah, no, but I love it. I mean, I'm so pumped for the YouTube thing long term. Like, I'm so pumped for it. Yeah. It's the whole thing. To me, it's going to be like, if this plays out, I think this will be like the smartest move, more than even just getting on Amazon. Like this, because this is platform. Mm-hmm. This can apply to anything.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to see how he does that, definitely go check out his channel and subscribe to his channel. I'll put it in the link below for sure, first link. And if you want to see if I can do that sometime in the future, then subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Matt, how do you want to end this? Just end it.
That's it, man. See you guys on my channel, and watch this guy. He knows what he's doing.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Matt. Really.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.